Hi everyone, I'm Mirella Ciobanu, lead editor with the papers, and I'm thrilled to be here at Money Motion 2025 and be speaking with Milan Gauder, co-founder of frēda. And before kicking off our discussion, I'm curious to know for our audience, what is frēda for those who do not know it yet?
So frēda is a new initiative which is building up a mobile NFC-based but real-time payment-backed payment infrastructure for Europe and beyond.
Oh, okay. So it was in a nutshell. And in a way, it's a promise to solve some of the things that you mentioned on
It
stage.
will solve everything.
Solve everything.
It's addressing those challenges, definitely.
Yeah, so since I mentioned the scene and Money Motion, you started the event with a very provocative presentation on payments innovation in Europe. Maybe present, what were the main points you presented?
In a nutshell, what I said that Europe is doing well. It has a nice card-based payment infrastructure, and it has slowly made baby steps in innovation from chip and PIN cards to contactless card, from contactless card to contactless mobile phone. These were all mostly driven by Mastercard, Visa, Apple with Apple Pay and Google Pay. In the meantime, the whole world has built up so-called real-time payment systems from India to Nigeria to Brazil, but also in every European country, including the European Central Bank, has built up real-time payment. But while in the rest of the world, that triggered a massive boom of electric payment penetration, and in India and Brazil and Thailand caught up with the 50 years of development of Croatia or Hungary or Romania or Europe, and probably in Brazil there is less cash use than in Germany today. Europe didn't change anything. Europe built up these real-time payment rails, but didn't start to use it. And so the third word became the first word, and the first word became the slowly moving second word, because we are lazy. I mean, we have all the possibilities, but we are lazy. And until recently, contactless card payment combined with more and more mobile payment, it was good. I mean, why to change? Why to fix something that is not broken? The challenge when it started to get broken is this fact that people are lazy and they are not changing, that was realized by Mastercard and Visa and Apple and so on. So they said, okay, if you love our products, great, and we worked hard to make you love that, but we will keep on increasing the price. That's not me saying that, but it's the United Kingdom finance papers, and kind of many studies shows that card payment for the merchant is getting more and more expensive instead of getting cheaper and cheaper. That would be your normal intuition, that as things grow, that they get cheaper. No, here they get more and more expensive. Why? Because there was no alternative and people were lazy to change. For online, they are alternative. Blik in Poland, Bizum in Spain, Twint, Swish, here, Kex. So for online payment, there are lots of alternatives which are not card-based. Those are bank transfer-based, instant payment-based. But that's only for online. For buying bread and butter, paying in restaurant and so on, we still use Tap and Go. And the second thing which kind of started to make people scratch their head is the change in the United States politics. When Donald Trump says that, hey, you don't have the cards right now to President Zelensky, or when they say, we will take Greenland, whatever it takes, one way or the other, then of course, if I were a European Central Bank, if I were the Croatian, the Hungarian, the Ukrainian, or the Greenland Central Banker or Prime Minister, I would say, hey, what if something happens? What if in one day we cannot use the American army? Yeah, we need the European army. What if one day we cannot use the American payment systems? We need an alternative payment system. Do we need a Croatian payment system? No, that would be stupid because people come on holiday to Croatia and Croatians travel as well, at least to the neighboring countries. So you don't need a Croatian, you don't need a Hungarian, you don't need a German payment system, but you need a bigger one which can complement, compete, at least put competitive pressure on the existing ones. And that's what we call all European and Middle Eastern government regulator that to think about that, to allow that, because innovation doesn't come from central banks. I mean, Mastercard or Facebook or Apple was not created by the American government. They were created by startuppers, innovative young people who had a dream and then built it up. And then others, clients, in case of Visa, of course, bank joined. That's what we need. It will not be the central bank with digital euro or with whatnot to create a competition. That will fail big time if a government want to compete with a capitalist company who is doing it for their own investors. We need the banks and we need the startups to come together, unite forces and create an alternative payment.
Yeah. So I think we can end the interview here because you kind of answered many of my questions. But now, okay, we kind of stated that Europe is a bit behind or Europe lacks innovation or is maybe too conservative. But let's take some steps back and highlight what are some achievements in terms of payments in Europe, if you think?
So I wouldn't say that Europe is lacking innovation. Contactless payment was invented in the US first in 2006, but they didn't use it at all. And it was Croatia, Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, who said, oh, we need this stuff, and started to adopt, and suddenly everyone started to pay contactless here, and then broader Europe, and then Middle East. And US is still lagging behind.
Yeah.
So the adoption is the best in Europe. Same, real-time payment. Where was it first launched? In the US, in Canada, No, in the United Kingdom. And then second in European countries, in Sweden and Nordics and so on. And then pretty early on, many other European countries. So no, Europe is not lacking innovation. They were just innovating in central bank level, like this real-time payment. And people were open for adopting new things like mobile payment. Apple Pay, the biggest success was in Russia and in Ukraine, not in the United States, not in France, not in Germany. So it's not the usual suspect adopt the innovation first. So Europe is ready for innovation. People like things which is one step ahead. And even governments did invest in new infrastructure. The problem is that until now we were lazy and we said, okay, so we did the real-time payment, we don't use it, no problem. Or we adopted Apple Pay with Mastercard and Visa being packaged with Apple Pay. Oh, no problem, because we will always have that. Time has changed and maybe we won't always have that.
Now I'm curious. So in a way you say that we can have the means, but we are a bit lazy, let's say.
Slow.
But in an ideal world, if you were to change some things, what would you change that would kind of stimulate startups and bankers in Europe to make our payment system competitive with what's happening on emerging markets?
Yeah. I think it's the risk-taking that's key.
Okay.
So
attitude.
risk-taking, and why is the risk-taking low? I mean, generally, yes, we can say it's the European culture, risk-taking, risk aversity, GDPR, and this is more European thing, and that flows into investment. Do the European Bank want to invest in having an alternative payment? They say yes, but when it comes to, okay, put $5 million there, then they say, oh, but I have other things to do and so on. So I think risk-taking is not on the level like in a Nigeria or a Brazil or a US, the California. So that's one thing. The second thing, I mean, that includes venture capitals. Venture capitals are still very Anglo-Saxon thing. In Europe, it's bank loan-driven economy, and you cannot really make innovation on bank loan. It's more a venture capital thing. And the second is we have so much regulation and very few of them bring profit to the banks. If you think about, I mean, today we heard about digital euro. Will that help the bank to have a return on investment? No, it's a regulation, you must do it. Open banking, was there a business model which, no, we force the bank to do open banking because that will bring new innovation. Did it? Not yet. It's like 7 years old, but you don't really see massive scale new use cases there. PSD2, strong customer authentication, PSD3. I mean, you know, every year there's something new. So the IT capacity of most of the banks is busy for the next 2 years with some new regulation, new taxation, new transactional tax, and so on. So I think in other regions, banks can spend their IT capacity and innovation capacity and mental capacity on forward-looking, risk-taking, and business-driven things, and less of what the government woke up that morning and what they wanted to enforce.
And you probably go to many of these events, and you also are an investor, and you connect with these people. How do you think their mentality can be changed, or where can they, I don't know, learn more, find out more about how to change things at a company level? It's about culture, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's changing positively. So I think they got a shake-up. I mean, my example of Trump's statement, that's a shake-up not just to the European politics, but to European banking and fintech as well. We need to do our own shit. We cannot wait always Uncle Sam to save us or to provide us things for free. That's a fair challenge. And so we need to act on that, not just talk, but act on that. And what we are doing, me as an investor, me as a founder, we are bringing solutions, and we are knocking on the door of the bank and central bank and say, guys, don't just complain, don't just talk, don't just say, oh, it's dangerous. Here is a solution, say yes or no. If you say no, you should only say no if you have a better one. And I think we are provoking, and many bankers, they say, yes, guys, let's do it. And so I think we need to just get more of that attitude, and then we can get a better future.
Yeah, and I'm curious, in a way, if they would say no, kind of take you to other locations, or you would insist on staying here in Europe and innovate the payment space?
I mean, I'm also a lazy European. I believe the best place to live is Europe. It's great to go on holiday elsewhere, but I love to live here. So, of course, I go after clients in the Middle East and beyond, but living here, I wouldn't leave Europe.
Okay, and since we are at Money Motion, and I don't know if it's your first time here, but I'm curious to see what is your take on the event.
The first time here, I mean, they only had 2 previous occasions. And yes, I've been on stage in Zurich, London, and in Eastern Europe, in Serbia, Hungary, Czech, and many countries. But this is definitely among the biggest. I mean, comparing to the side of the market, clearly the biggest. Very international. I mean, all the conversations are in English, no Croatian or Serbo-Croatian. So I think it's a very good start that after 3rd year they could get here. Then I imagine in a couple of years this will be the biggest event in broader sense and compete to Money 2020 or London-based event easily.
Oh,
so
great.
Good luck for them.
Yeah.
And this is an innovation as well, that we have it here. We don't need to travel to London or Frankfurt or Amsterdam to have a good conversation.
Yeah. So Milan, thank you for today's talk, and I look forward to meeting you again here.